Hello, my name is Missy Harris and I am the Director of the Lincoln County Library System. We are thrilled to present Delving Independence with Judy Kwong. Judy moved to Wyoming a few years ago and is excited to share her passion for kiln-formed glass art with you. This series of classes is a wonderful opportunity to explore the beauty of fused glass and create something truly unique. Before we begin, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Lincoln County Library System and our dedicated facilitators for bringing this class to communities across the county. A special thanks also goes to Lifetime Arts for their generous grant, which has helped make this program possible. Now, let's fuse some glass.
Okay.
Welcome everybody. Here we go. Welcome to class number 4. We're gonna make circles from squares. I thought I was echoing, but I'm just hearing Pete talking out there. Yes. Okay, so I want to remind everybody to locate Band-Aids. And if you need a refresher on cutting glass, we've got a sheet that tells you helpful hints on cutting glass. And please be safe. Keep your workspace clean. If you do some cuts and it shatters a lot of crumbs, then please clean those up as you go so you don't need to use those Band-Aids. So I also wanted to point out that you can look at this photograph in your handout because this beautiful blue and green is the square to round that we're going to work on today. And I also have a sheet, a quick tip sheet on circles from squares. And it's probably going to tell you a little more than I am just rattling off. But everybody, I think, should have enough of these squares. Each pendant's going to take 2, the 1 inch thick clear glass, and everybody should have enough to make 4 pendants, but I believe there's enough for everybody to make 5 if you have time to make an extra one, and maybe there might be another couple more. So that's the first thing you need to do is you need to divvy up these square thick squares if you haven't done that yet. We're going to be using those, and we're going to be using scrap glass and any of your previous pieces of glass that you handmade if you so choose to cut them up and use them here. So while you're divvying that up, I'll show you some examples of pendants that I've made with square to round technique. And these all started out with the 2 layers of thick glass with 1 layer of glass in between. And just like here, that's what it looked before. And as y'all reminded me last week, if you can get a look of, there you go. There you can see the green side, the clear on the bottom, then the green, then the clear on the top. So the way I like to look at it is your canvas is a 1 inch by 1 inch square. And one way you can take these even further, when you get them back, it's going to be kind of plain like this or whatever your design was. But I want you to just always be thinking outside of the box and be thinking further than what I'm telling you here, because when you get these back, you could take one of your dots or many of your dots and put them on top, glue it to the top, send it back to me. That shows up a little better there. Send it back to me and I can do a low fire to make that stick. So you can keep building on these as well. And is everybody ready to move forward? Yes. Okay.
Give us a thumbs up in the chat or on camera if you're ready to go ahead. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So for everybody who was here last week, I already pre-cut these because I wanted to use up some of the glass that I made from one of our previous glasses. So it's okay. I'm going to use this for the base. I put a little ziggy on it so you can see that that's a piece of glass. And I cut these and I'm going to glue them together. Remember to glue them to your thin fire. Your circle is going to be somewhere around 2 inches when it's fired and it's spread out. And so your thin fire should be at least 2 inches, 2¼ inches probably will be sufficient, or 2½ inches if you start just really having a fun time with it and pile up a couple layers there between the 2 clear pieces. So I will glue these down, or pretend I'm gluing it down because the glue's not coming out. And then I'm gonna, oh, the glue's coming out there. And then I'm gonna glue this top layer on it and I am done. And if it sticks out a little bit, it's okay. I don't know if y'all can see that. Like all these squares are not perfect squares. I've got some sticking out, but the thing about this is the moral of this story today is we're using all this clear glass to move that middle layer. So all this thick clear glass is our vehicle for it to spread out. So it's okay if you have a little bit sticking out there. You just need that clear. It's gonna cover that once we fire it under a hot temperature. Okay, questions?
Are we limited to one layer? To clear glass, one layer and then clear glass, or can there be 2 layers in between the 2 pieces of glass?
The question is, are y'all limited to 1 layer of glass, or can it be more? You can make it more. I think the key point, if you make it more than 1 layer, is the balance. So you don't want it lopsided because that's going to be like a weak point when they're riding in the car and you hit a bump. So like if this one is thicker, if I had a super thin one, I might just go ahead and pretend that's clear to make it even, just for the support, so it's not all cockeye and wanting to fall over. That's all you have to remember, but you can make it 2 layers, maybe 3. Just remember your thin fire needs to be larger than 2 inches if you're going to make more than the 1 or 2 layers of glass in between.
So that same premise would be if you used one of your dots and you've got a.
Good question. If you want to use one of your dots in the middle, like that, and it's just not going to balance, no matter how much glue I put on, that's just going to be a weak point. So I can take other little dots, pretend, well, it can be color or it can be clear.
Just to even it.
Yeah, just to give it that balance. This needs one more. That's going to be a little more steady. Another thing you can do is you can turn it over so that the flat side's on top and then put some little tiny dots. However, it's going to become more stable. You can figure that out. That one stayed a little thicker. But do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Are the dots going to stay dots that way, or are they going to melt out too?
That is another good question. I'm gonna cover one more thing. Don't remind me to get back to that. Instead of using the dots, pretend this is clear glass. And you can build up the clear glass here to get that stable. Well, I'm gonna need, that would do it. Okay, what was your question, Judy?
Are the dots gonna stay round as a dot, or is it gonna spread?
Somewhere, oh, this is the one I was gonna show you. This funky little, I call it an alien ladybug. But if you can see the back side, it started out, and I'll draw a line, I've got a Sharpie. This explanation is it's gonna flow, but I'm drawing a line. I can see my original marks where my original square was. And these were all within that boundary. So you can see it flowed out. So what used to be just a thin strip of green here on this edge spread out and flowed and rounded. And the closer you get to your perimeter, the more it's going to round.
So with the dots, since the question was about will the dots stay, we turn it back over so we can see how did those dots?
Oh, I put these on. It was after I made my squared around, I painted those dots on, but they could easily be some of your little dots.
That you would put on in a second firing.
In the second firing. Just like I used a paintbrush to paint these on, and then I fired it a second time. And just remember that y'all can do that too. So we'll get to dots in a minute, because I do want to give y'all a chance to make tiny dots if y'all haven't done that yet. So what other questions do we have? Yeah, if you want to use one of your dots in the middle, just find that balance for stability for the transportation. If that makes sense. Oh, and use your tweezers. I'm not using my tweezers now.
Okay, so question, we're making up 4 or 5 squares that are gonna be rounds today.
Yes.
Okay.
And each pendant is going to have a thick, clear base, and then you're going to cap it with a thick, clear top.
I'd say that again. Right.
So your canvas is going to be on top of that base, that clear base.
So I got a question from Cokeville.
Yep.
And if you'll repeat it back, will you talk about the black with the yellow dots? How did you do it?
The black with the yellow dots. How did I do this? I made a simple squared around. It had some metallic on the bottom, and those are the squares you can see there. I don't think y'all have any of that glass, but some of you do have a glass that has a little bit of irid coating on it, and feel free to use that in here. Can y'all see how it cracked? As it spreads, it's technically a super thin metallic coating. So see how it breaks up like foil just separating. So go ahead and try that. But what I did here was I made my squared around, and then I had all these squigglies that I did it again. I put it through another high temperature with the browns on top. Then I fired it I was gonna fire it a third time, but I did a paintbrush with these tiny dots. Y'all don't have a paintbrush with enamel paints, but you can make little tiny dots. If y'all want to just layer these after you get them back next week. Or they can just be really beautiful, just simple shapes. The one in your example photograph, if you can see that little dark line in between the two colors, there you go. That's a reaction because one is a copper colored glass and the other probably has selenium, which when they meet under high temperature, it's gonna look like they burnt where they met. So you can also strive for that, which y'all also have the sheet that shows the different colors that can react. If y'all also want to pull that out and look at it, but not necessary. So the main reason why I'm showing you these is you can add to these when you get them back next week.
I'm having a hard time. I've scored that 2 or 3 times. I can't get it to break. Am I too close to the
You're too
edge?
thin.
Okay.
So I had, let's see, what was this? This one cut just fine and I did that's closer to a 1/2 inch
Okay.
in. And then if you want it thinner, you can attempt, there's a rule, get your as small as you can, which would be a 1/4 inch, and then try to do down the middle again to,
Okay. Okay. I'll try. Thank you.
no, 1/2 inch. Your original score should be a 1/2 inch. And then your other score should be your 1/4 inch score and see if you can do it then. That way. And what we were talking about was the weave piece that we made. And I found that if I did a 1/2 inch strip first, we'll experiment. A 1/2 inch strip breaks just fine, but we're trying to get it thinner than a 1/2 inch. So let's try this again. And because it is a little thicker than that 3 millimeter size that sheet glass is, we'll see. I'm not having good luck getting it smaller than did you get it to be smaller than a 1/2 inch?
I have a hard time figuring out what a 1/2 inch is, but I think I got it now.
Okay.
So Judy, I did this. What are we gonna use?
Okay, good question. Peggy just brought up, she shattered her piece with a hammer. And Peggy, you can do this.
Okay, that's,
Which is gonna be next week.
okay, so I'll save it.
Or you can even do a miniature version of it if you want here.
Okay,
I did
I
not have
really
time.
like that. So I'll save it for next week.
Yeah, you can save it for next week.
Good, good, good.
Do I have some shattered pieces?
So can you stand it up like we were doing, trees on there?
Oh, like this, the triangular one,
Was it?
or these?
Well, like any of that, can you stand, as long as you could get the other one on top even?
Yes, like this one would be just fine here. Cause I can stick. But if it's like the triangle,
No, that
That's
one
not
would
gonna-
work, but if you had them, and maybe this center one was a little narrower,
mhm,
and so it didn't hit the other two, but if you got the other
or it
two
hit the other
outside.
two, but not the middle one, that would be fine.
Okay.
As long as you can make it stay stable.
Gotcha.
And then I'll get back to this time.
I'm still playing Kim to see how we can get that inner piece.
I don't know what. for,
What is
but
all that?
a little bit.
Everything. That's a good idea. Cause they're small. That's what's nice about it.
Yeah, I am having a hard time getting that to break into a 1/4 inch. But I did get little 1/2 inch squares, or it's smaller than 1/2 inch squares.
Looks like it's.
It's been used
Yes,
before.
I
Might
know.
bring it forth a
Look at that.
wonderful looking thing.
You did.
Is it good?
Yeah.
You know how you go through phases of things, you don't eat it forever, and then all of a sudden, you
Yeah.
go 3 weeks in a row and you buy it. It was, I did that with cottage cheese recently. And I put blueberries in it. Yeah, just.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm also, speaking of how they're gonna spread, I'm also curious how just taking a square of my weave is gonna end up looking after it spreads out, because I know there's gonna be some curvatures in there. And some of the edge is gonna like, it looks like it folds under the bottom. That's not what happens, but it will look like a little fold there. So it's pretty interesting. And if you're really excited about this and you want to do more than what I've got the thick pieces, then all this thick piece is 2 of the 3mm squares put together. if that made sense. It's just easier to use this thick glass because it doesn't move or slide. And to be honest, to get back to trying to make this a 1/4 inch instead of a 1/2 inch strip, if we had a tile saw, we could do it. And maybe you can figure out how to get it done. Ah, I did it.
Oh,
Try these. These,
well, I grabbed a different pair, so.
okay, these running pliers have a bigger frowny face. So if you're not able to do it with that, come try these. That would also be really interesting is to take those strips and stand them on their sides.
Oh, yeah.
Oops. See, I'm not using my tweezers, so I'm knocking everything over. Remember your tweezers. Oh, and it's crucial that everybody remembers to take a photograph of your work at the end of class today, because I think we've, the last week and this week, if any of it moves, I will have no idea how to put them back together. So it'll be nice to have, I can call you and get a photograph, or your librarian can call you and get a photograph for me if something happened. And I'll put them back exactly how you wanted it done if I have a photograph.
Sorry, I had to run into the cow pie.
Oh, no.
We're not gonna want to be in here.
Oh my gosh.
It wasn't. I went through the snow and there it was.
So you're working with, you've got your thick pieces, your thick clear pieces, and on top of your bottom, your base is going to be your 1-inch canvas. You're free to do anything you want as long as you can balance your topper on it after it's glued. You can use dots, you can fresh cut, you can cut up your confetti glass or your weave, or just use scraps and put them together. But our squares are going to turn into rounds when we take them up to 1525 degrees. And here you can see how that's the original mark of it used to be square like that. Your clear pieces is the vehicle to cause movement under the high temperature.
Okay.
So it's just going to spread. Corners draw up, sides spread out. And your thin fire should be at least like about 2.5 inches. If you add like a really thick layer in the middle, just add another 1/4 inch or so around. But it's gonna spread to approximately 2 inches round.
Judy, if Labarge is out of fire paper today, how do you want them to put stuff on their tray?
Oh, yeah, don't glue it to paper, just glue them together and leave them on your tray. That'll work, and I will put them on thin fire paper for you. But yeah, I'm gonna be sending y'all some more thin fire paper for those who may have run out. And question for Missy, are we gonna be able to get these up here so I can fire them over the weekend and then get them back for pickup on Monday or Tuesday?
Missy's out of town, but
Oh.
maybe the gallon trimmer probably knows.
Okay,
April.
April. Hope you're having fun, Missy. Sorry, we didn't, what was that? What did Labarge say?
Oh. Sorry, they didn't hear that about the fire paper.
Oh, Labarge, just glue all your squares together. Do not glue them to paper. Just set them on your,
If they're out of fire paper.
if you're out of fire paper. And if you're running low, write me a note, leave it on somebody's tray, and I'll get more to you next week when I send the fired pieces back.
Yeah. They need to be sandwiched, whatever you do, needs to be sandwiched. Level and level. Stable. Have these little pieces too, for everybody. It's like just little pieces, that's like confetti glass. Anybody wants it, I'm not hogging it. I kind of. But it's here, it's not just for me.
That's okay.
So Peggy asked earlier, she brought her broken glass in and we were talking about that a little bit. I have a little container here of a lot of broken glass from old dots. And you can just use your tweezers and put them on this as a project. You can also save them for this next week. We'll make our dot creations next week. Also, if I would also stand that up on its side and remake the dot into a new dot from just a scrap. And I wanted to tell y'all that for your dot creations next week, if you haven't made any tiny ones, but you would like to, See how the tiny, y'all don't have any of this glass, but even if I just had it on a solid piece, these little tiny dots would be like little magnification glasses. So
Oh, it's 3D.
yeah, it's 3D. And these are just clear dots that are magnifying what's below it. So if y'all want to make some little tiny dots after you've done your pieces, and that's about that size here. Anything smaller than a 1/4 inch square is gonna give you something like that. Like
And that's a tiny dot.
that's a tiny dot. Anything smaller than a 1/4 inch square will give you a tiny dot. And it doesn't have to be a square. It could be a triangle or just a chunk of glass that's smaller than a 1/4 inch.
Can I? Yes, thank you.
And these are clear, but any transparent color, like this amber, I already made a dot out of that, but it would do the same thing. Just a slightly different tone. So it doesn't have to be clear. So what I'm really saying is this is the last week to do your dots. Because we're gonna be creating with them next week.
That makes me like dot panic.
Yeah, don't get dot anxiety. We don't need dot anxiety. This is class 4. Technically, you can make more dots, 5 and 6. But next week is when we're really going to use those dots. You could make more for that class 7. But when we get to class 7, that's only going to be 1 firing left. But here you still have time for a couple firings on. I know I'm probably confusing y'all, but that's the way I am with glass. It's like if it's not exactly what I want, I put it aside and add to it later and run it through the kiln again and see what happens.
I see those.
Your fingers.
Oh, sharp. Huh?
Well, they're little shards, basically.
It's big enough.
And after we make our dot creations next week, then class 6, we're going to play with the silver foil. And I've already got all the pieces cut for that. So it's not going to require much cutting from y'all.
So are we using, remember the first class we made
Yeah,
are we using that for the?
that will be class
Okay,
6.
so I don't want to use.
She asked about when I recommended that y'all make these larger dots. That's going to be for the silver foil project, class 6.
Keep it even, Peggy. I'm not sure. You know, to get the topper. They all come out. the same. That's what happens.
Maybe not.
Yeah, they'll come out and-
I don't know how to fix it.
Is it voice activated? Am I yelling too loud?
No, it's 'cause it's touching the table.
but I can get my-
Judy,
Yes,
remember that glass I brought in and you said, don't use it with your glass. Can it be used with this, the clear? So I could put that.
I wouldn't even do that.
Okay, okay. I'm glad I-
But do you have clear in that little package?
Ish. I'm fine with just making puddles and dots on
Okay.
that stuff.
All right.
That's kind of my late night thing.
Judy brought in some glass that's CO96, whereas the bullseye glass that y'all are working with is CO90. And the rule of thumb is to not mix them. I mean, Judy, if you want to do one and see what happens, that's
I
fine.
just don't want to explode your kiln.
It's not gonna explode. It'll crack. It'll get stress fractures and crack and maybe break.
Okay, but not your kiln.
Not my kiln. And it might further down the line, it might happen further, I mean, time from now
But
in the
not
future.
like.
Not,
exploding on other
no,
things.
it won't, not like ceramics.
Okay.
It shouldn't. I've never heard of that happening. So the CL90 and the CL96 glass was manufactured in a different way. So it's all the chemical properties of the glasses are a little bit different. It's compatibility is the word I'm talking about here. Will they be fine together and you'll never know? Or the thing that could happen is that they don't, one stays hotter longer than the other and it causes stress on the glass. So you're gonna get cracks and stress fractures. But also, Judy, if you just wanna use your 96 glass and make stacks, try that too. Okay,
Okay.
just stack it up high as the 6, 6, and 3, 15 millimeters, and see what happens. See how it flows.
All right.
And then look at all your dots.
Oh, nothing. I'm
I think they're
looking
neat
at
though.
this, trying to figure out something. Oh, even on the rounds, Judy, if I'm putting a piece of glass on top of the clear one and it overhangs, it's gonna, will it spread more or will it droop over the square bottom?
Okay, that's a good question too, Ada. The question is if your, let's call it your canvas layer on top of your base layer, if it hangs over the edge a little bit, what's gonna happen to that? And from what's happened in previous experiments that I've done, it's probably gonna fold over a little bit, but that thick clear on top is gonna spread over
The
all
whole
those
thing.
edges. And it's not gonna be like, I can't find a good example, but, oh, here we go. Now this is over the edge and it just sloped a little bit.
Right.
But if we ran it through the kiln again with the thick clear on top and bottom, that edge is gonna be taken over by the clear that's on top.
It'll melt down.
And it'll,
around,
yeah,
like a chocolate chip.
it's still all gonna be one uniform smooth piece when it comes out. Yeah, like a chocolate chip. I think one of the locations has an example that's a little bit oval. It's a red and blue one. And instead of starting out with a square, I think it was more of a rectangular shape. And it didn't go to a perfect circle. It stayed elongated in an oval shape.
This looks like you have used it before.
Or some of our scrap glass here, Ada's asking, it looks like I've used it before. What I did was I pre-fired it because some of this glass turns a different color. It strikes to a different color once you fire it. So I pre-fired those pieces. They haven't been used, but.
Well, no, I don't care, but it's smooth, but it's going to overlap.
I'll see what happens.
Well, yeah.
I don't think you're
So
gonna,
pretty.
I don't think you're gonna have anything hanging over anymore. It's all gonna, but it's still gonna flow.
Okay. No, I was just using something that, had a nice shape
Let it
before I
overflow and we'll
started.
see what happens. You might have just a little bump in your perfect circle. Or it might just be consumed by that, that clear that's gonna flow down over it. Because this clear glass, it's got, well, it's the easiest to make move under high temperature. You know, remember last week we were talking about some of the dots stayed. Here's one that stayed, instead of going to a perfect circle, it stayed squarish, but it's still rounded. This clear glass, it moves easier, with more ease than any other color glass.
So, have an example if there of one of their big circles that you just kept it with clear glass? I guess my question is like, should I put some white in? Or?
Come show me.
Like it's a creation. It's
Are you creative?
I don't,
Creating,
I don't know what I'm creating, but like my options are to either kind of put it like this. And I found two like this, so that will stay clear, or is it, do you think it's going to probably melt, or should I put it more this way?
I would do that.
And that way it would have more of a chance to get the variety. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's gonna be under 1525 degrees, so for like 25 minutes. So if, like if I put this in at 1525, there would be no texture left in this petal that's hanging over the edge. It would be consumed in that smoothing out
Okay.
process.
Okay. I forgot, the top goes on top. That should have answered my own question. I just reminded myself I need to put the other piece. You're gonna sit over here.
Oh, here's the schedule for the glass. I forgot I had it in an email. Terry's gonna do this travel. She's gonna go to LaBarge today after class, pick up their stuff. And then she's gonna come Cokeville, Thane, Alpine
Okay, so
tomorrow.
tomorrow,
Drop
okay,
everything off tomorrow. And then say when she's gonna be picking it up, but I'm assuming
Okay.
Monday afternoon.
okay, yeah, Monday afternoon.
Can ask
We're talking about delivery, picking up and delivering the glass. I should be able to have all this fired and ready for pickup Monday afternoon or noonish. And if not, if something happens, I will reach out. I'll let Wendy know and then she'll let y'all know. And I just had another little thought here, but it would be fun to make some little dots out of your scraps from your weave or from your confetti glass that you might be using today, and just glue them to a piece of paper and let's see how those dots come out. They can be on edge or upside down or right side up. And I also wanted to remind y'all that I will be sending out some more clear glass, and I have white scraps that can be used for bases, for if you want use bigger strips for wind chimes or whatever. I'll be sending them back with your fire projects on Monday. So thin fire for people who need it, more white and clear. I should write that down.
No, you can't.
Those little dots.
Those are all dots. Make more dots. What are the dots? I wonder if that's gonna be fun.
That's all. Like,
Yes, it's a
the-
confetti
the
stuff,
scraps.
yes. Be interesting.
Yeah. These get-
I
That's
know
got
it.
really fun.
It is. Yeah, so so I tell you why it's was so good, and then there was another one, Coco. So we chose.
Yeah, I really think better to do two days.
Yes. It's more people.
Yeah, one for me and one for fun. Can't really mix the two. This is stuff she wrote. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the class. So if I run out late night.
Am I supposed to write on the sheet with the heart? The low.
Low fire. You can either say low fire or tack fuse, that's the same thing.
I've already started low fire.
Yeah, if you're doing any extra projects out there, outside of the realm of squared around, that's gonna be high temperature. If you want me to fire it at a low temperature so that you preserve the texture, then just write on your thin fire, low fire, or tack fuse.
Hard to level those dots out.
On leveling the dots out, what if we put one upside down and the other's right side up? Does that get it to the same
I
thing?
forgot about that upside down one. All right, let me try it.
And I feel like in that case, if we got it upside down, what we're trying to do is just keep that center one stable.
Yeah, even upside down, it's still like moving like this a little bit. Which is what you don't want, right?
Right.
Yes.
What can we do about that?
Could you put the paper in between the balances?
Anywhere you put the paper, it's not gonna stick.
Okay.
Trying to work right now on if I just put a little scrap of, okay, let's see if that got it. Oh, well, I'm not using glue.
Precious, it's so precious. Man, I sounded like Gollum talking to myself.
Okay, here's something you can try, is just wait until the end of class to glue the lid on, the cap on. Let all your pieces dry
Yeah.
and get tacky, and then stick that topper on at the end of class.
I'm sorry. Got a spoon in it.
Yes.
You have this, I'm running out of space on my tray.
I know. I'm trying to figure out where it is.
Well, if you run out of space on your tray, just grab another tray and y'all can share them. If you just write your name on your
Yeah.
thin fire paper, and I'll still know.
There's a couple trays on the table back there.
I think every location has at least a couple extra trays.
Just sitting on some green. Are you laughing because you know I am?
No.
They're there for the taking, so take it.
It's hard to cut those little tiny pieces. isn't it?
Well, and then they leave a little angle.
Yeah. Post office. Maybe there'll be something.
I think you're being an optimist.
I think I am.
Although I do think they save the packages until, and they clean it separate.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Just. Seems like. I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems like Acton is the weak point in the first one. Hang on to this stuff.
And share. Better be. I'm talking to myself. So. I know I said his birthday's coming up. And he loves tea.
Oh, yes.
And a couple Christmases ago, he gave me this really fancy. Anyway, he loves tea. So. Asked me to, and then I remembered it's called Jesse's tea. Anyway, I ordered it yesterday and he should have it by Tuesday in Wales. So,
Wow.
you know, what,
Unlike the sweater that.
they came back, what, 4 months later or something?
Yes. It's crazy.
All right. Let's see. That is- I ordered off of Paxton's wedding registry,
Uh-huh.
and I did it after. It said, oh, they'll ship it on the June 15th. I thought, oh, okay, must be, you know,
Right.
maybe a lot of people bought her that. Anyway, I get a notice this week that it is shipped too.
Wow.
I just, they don't know what's going on. Seems like you either get it really quickly
Or
it
it
takes
takes
forever.
forever. You don't-
and you don't know if it's the post office or it's, or whatever they're shipping, or the company that you're purchasing it from.
Yes, because sometimes the company is close by.
I'm gonna stop this now.
Like when I ordered my skis, I couldn't believe it came in less than 12 hours because it was Utah.
Change the flag at the top of the thing and they'll do it to the EU and you won't have to pay your duty.
Oh, really?
Well, a couple things they would let me
Wow.
do it, but then on the others, they wouldn't let me do it. And I thought, as long as it gets there, I'll pay the duty.
Right.
You just don't want
That's
him to
the
have to do
important
it.
thing is it gets. I want to do it all.
Uh-oh. Let's see, now we're just chill.
You have birthdays spread out
It's
all the
starting
time.
March 31st through the end
My mom's side of the family, we're all January birthdays.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's like, not all, but a lot, 8 or 10.
That many?
Yeah.
Well, my February used to be the month, like Bob's father, my sister were both on the 16th, my mother, well, two nieces were on the 6th. Then Bob's sister, the next day was my mother's, the next day was my grandmother's in February. And now it's only the other ones, well, Bob's sister, two nieces. And that one's depleted now. We've got really in April. Well, yeah, April would be the most in middle of March to really the middle of May. And then the others are kind of one in the staggered months. Yeah.
So I just-
That's it. Ended up doing this one clear.
Pretty.
I think-
Yeah.
So can I put a dot?
Oh,
Well, you did it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You did a good job of breaking that. Those are pretty pieces.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hit or miss, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if it all turns to
And
powder.
I kind of missed, but it was a hit.
If it breaks, it shatters just right, they kind of fit together, but
They
if it's
do.
too much, it's all powder. It's like just a pile of
Yeah,
powder.
that's fine.
Did we do, when we did that, so we did 2 layers and we did 3 layers?
Whatever you want.
You heard that?
Yeah, dots are however many layers you want.
Thank you. Teach your ears.
Yes.
If you want a tiny dot, just one little tiny layer. If you want to mix colors, you can do, remember puddles? Puddles are basically dots. Dots gone wild.
Do another class, let's call it that. Docs.
There you go.
Oh, we could, couldn't we?
We'd all sign up.
And we already have the dots. One thing, with all the dots that we don't use, you'll have some dots left.
Oh, that brings up, Peggy just said all the dots that that they won't use, I'll have a lot of dots.
Yes.
But I was gonna tell you, I'll save them and take them home because
Oh my God. Yay!
any dots you've made are rightfully yours.
Oh
So,
my God.
and you can put them on your flower pots, just, you can use,
Mixed media.
yeah, in your mixed media. Okay, I'm skipping around here, but Judy has made some beautiful cards that she sends out with mixed media collages and using some of her dots. And even if this was not a pendant, it would be a really nice meditation type stone, meditation
Oh, yeah.
pendant
I love that.
to give to somebody, or just a little spot of glue on their greeting card to send to somebody. So many different things. But back to the dots, take them home, and yeah, anything you can glue them on using the marine grade silicone, clear silicone, and that's pretty weatherproof. And super glue, Gorilla Glue, anything that has glass under it works on this column. So yeah, have fun. Glue them onto other things besides glass too. I would not glue them onto a mug and then put it through the dishwasher. But you could put them on a mug and hand wash it.
Little dots on your mirror,
Oh yeah.
little frame it
Yeah.
on the side.
Actually, we got a new
corner.
foyer light and there's nothing special about it, but I am gonna take some epoxy because I want it to make sure it stays. But on the rim around my foyer light, because it's just one of those flat lights.
Right.
On the
Oh,
rim around the
good,
edge, I'm
sure.
gonna make dots and glue them on.
It's like bedazzling.
Yeah, but yeah,
but with dots.
bedazzle with dots, with glass dots.
We're working out there.
What else can we glue our dots on? I'm like this with a paintbrush. Anything that'll hold paint, I can take a paintbrush too.
There you go.
Don't throw that away, I can paint it.
Absolutely. Use paint and dots.
You could put them on your windows, but you'd probably get in trouble with the other half that live in the house.
Yeah.
Not quite as creative.
Or a hand mirror, a vanity hand mirror, you could decorate that.
I don't own any of those. That's since my 20s. That would be cool, that would be really pretty.
Yeah.
Make some sort of kaleidoscope.
Ooh, a kaleidoscope.
Oh, I
Oh,
know.
yeah, because they just tumble in there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
They're beautiful, yeah.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Or all your little shards even. would
I
go
know.
in
All
there,
right,
If you could get it in one.
yeah.
There is a store in Jerome, Arizona. I've never seen so many kaleidoscopes in.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
In case y'all didn't hear that, kaleidoscopes. If you make kaleidoscopes, you can put your dots in that and let them tumble around.
I think there's a kit or something to make your own kaleidoscopes or.
Mm-hmm. Seems like I've seen that too. Oh, you know what I've also done with dots is I'll do a painting out of acrylic and I'll glue with the marine grade silicone. I will put those dots and make it a multimedia painting.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah. Now, just as a reminder, if there's anything you want to ask me or communicate to me, just write on a piece of scrap paper and put it on one of your trays and I'll find it. Especially if you're needing more fire paper, thin fire paper or something like that.
What I'm doing, I'm putting it all
Oh.
on this piece here. I'm letting these
A
things
couple
dry.
of pieces of paper, they
Oh, and one question I do have for all of y'all out there is make sure that each location still has enough of the stringers. It doesn't take much, but when we get to class number 6 and working with the silver foil. It's fun to put the stringers over the foil and see what happens. Especially the blues and greens and brown colors that will react with that French vanilla we're gonna be using. So if you're totally out of stringers, let me know and I'll try to get some more to y'all. Yes.
If I'm making dots out of the 90 glass, will it stick to the 96 glass if I, you know how you said you can come later and then put the dots on and you'll refire it, the dot will stick?
You know what, the question is with the different COEs, if the dots can later be stuck on there, and because you're not fully taking it up to a high temperature, there's a better chance that's not gonna.
So I just would glue those on.
You could glue them on, or you could run one through the kiln and see what happens. Like if you're using powders, you can use a little powder of a 96 COE with a 90 COE base glass. And because there's not that much happening physically, you're just heating it up enough to stick, it's not gonna cause stress.
Okay.
But if you're melting it all together like these squared arounds, then there could be a lot of internal stress.
It looks like a snake skin or something.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 10 minutes left.
Oh, stressing us out.
I take it back.
Basically, it is blank. I'm not sure what I do with that.
I know. I keep looking at it.
Oh,
And
it's
I kind of like it. It is.
You're not gonna cut it up and use it, you're gonna
I
keep it as
know.
is.
I think
But I don't know what I'm gonna do with it even then. I don't know.
But yours is see-through, it could be one cat.
Yeah, you could put a contrasting dot right in the middle. Like just pretend. Put a dot like that and put your bail up at the corner and hang it as a diagonal for a little mini sun catcher.
Because yours could be a sun catcher.
What I need then is a. You know, I can look at something and say, oh, I like that, but to create in my own, is difficult for me. I can tell you whether I like something or not, but. So that whole thing could be fired again.
Yep. And you would preserve, the question is, can this be fired again? And yeah, I would do it at a low temperature to preserve the texture and just hot enough to make whatever you want, whatever you're putting on it stick.
Does it have to be an odd shape?
It can be an odd shape, it can be anything.
That fades into it.
Yeah, but
But
try with
mine,
the
it
yellow.
just, it picks it up.
Yeah, yours looks.
Oh, yeah.
Make a big yellow dot.
Yours, we would like one.
Here's a smaller yellow.
I think I like the odd shape. See what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
Don't forget to take photographs with your phones.
Oh, yeah.
Doing much with this reddish orange.
I know, I get colors. in mind.
I know that orangey color, orangey red is a good contrasting color with all those aquas and
Oh.
yellows, yeah.
Picture.
You're making notes over there, what people need.
Yes.
Thing, if you have any, would like some blue and green glass. And they need a little more, and they also need more PowerPoint.
Okay.
That was thing.
Thank you.
So what are you doing?
And then you put.
You want stuff, huh?
I get it. This.
You're making music. Oh, wow. There you go, oh. Yeah, oh, that's neat.
Any other questions out there why you have my attention?
You should record it.
No.
Oh, listen to you. Okay.
You done? Oh, Sam.
I am. He's good. He went snowshoeing
Oh, we do.
today. Oh, that's what we just.
Up the
announced.
hill?
Oh, I can't go on.
The what? Yeah.
What?
that's-
Should we wrap up the?
Okay, if we don't have any more questions, y'all have about 5 more minutes left, but I think we're gonna sign out and you'll get your fired pieces back next week and we'll have more playtime. So bye y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.